Hi, everyone. First of all, I would like to say that I'm very happy that we have finally reached the end of the semester. It's very exciting. And I'm happy to present you my final project today, but I should definitely apologize for my voice because I've been fighting flu for some time now. And I hope it's not going to be in the way. So, for my final project for the comparative stylistic analysis, I chose two texts that are different in genre and text type, but they share the same subject, which is eyelash and eyebrow serums. So first of all, I would like to explain why I chose this topic. I wanted to pick something that's really close to me, that I know a lot about, and as I've been working as a magazine writer and beauty editor for some time, so I thought that it might be a good start. And the second reason why I chose this specific topic was that a friend of mine started a business, and she and her partner produce eyelash and eyebrow treatments for professional salon use. So I've been helping them a little bit with the writing, with manuals, with translating some documents from Russian into English. And I found a couple of untranslated documents that they provided. And this became a base for my contrastive stylistic analysis. So text number 1 was taken from the Vogue magazine website, and it's called How to Grow Your Eyelashes and Eyebrows Fast, and Is It Even Possible? The second text is an excerpt from the manual of the professional eyebrow and eyelash molecular reconstruction kit. So these were the two texts I was working with. So when we take a first look, here is the initial information that we can get about both of the texts. So text number 1 is an excerpt from a magazine article. It's sourced from a Vogue magazine website beauty blog. Its genre is journalism. Text type is editorial. The author is present in the text. We can hear the author's voice. When we look at the structure, so the editorial is just written as a whole text with a couple of bullets that indicate some points. And we also see that the text is dated, which is significant for the journalism, because we can tell that the article is current and the information is new, which is also important for journalism. Then when we take a look at an excerpt from a manual, so what do we see? We know that it is sourced from a beauty professional supply startup documents. Genre is technical text. Text type is a user manual. We do not hear any author's voice in the text. It's very structured. It's presented mostly in the form of list, actually in the form of several lists. And the information is not dated, as it's not relevant when we talk about the manuals. Now let's take a look at the terminology. We know that the articles share the same topic of eyelash and eyebrow serums, but the way the authors use terminology is quite different. So in the magazine article, whenever a term is introduced, it is casually explained in a very simple way, so a wide range of non-professionals could understand. So every term has an explanation, and we can divide these terms into 3 groups. So there are terms of hair growth stages. There is also terminology on hair loss, and the treatment components. And there's one acronym. When we talk about professional manual, terms for the most part are not explained. To be honest, I didn't notice any explanation of these terms. And the reason for that is this is a professional manual for professionals, which means that they, when they end up reading this manual, they already should know all these terms. And if they are not familiar, then it's their job to get themselves familiar with these terms. Among the terms that are used in the professional manual, we can find treatment procedures and treatment components. So now let's take a closer look at 2 of these texts and see what they have in common and how different they are. So we know that the subject of both texts is pretty similar, but at the same time, it's very different. So for text number 1, for the magazine article, subject is eyelash serums, but in particular, how to grow lashes. For text number 2, the subject is eyelash serums, but it's an instruction how to use professional treatment kit. The genre of text 1 is journalism, and the text type is an informative, descriptive narrative with the elements of instructions, and it helps to form the opinion of the reader and also entertains, while genre of text number 2 is technical text, and text type is an instruction or a manual. And based on that, we can definitely tell that the function of 2 of these texts is completely different. So the function of the magazine article is informative and entertaining. The function of the manual is to provide guidelines for the users to understand the product, its function, and give directions on how to safely use the product. Then when we talk about the register of the magazine article is very informal. And here I think the author chooses this way, first of all, because they are not writing for the magazine itself. They are writing for the blog. And blog is more communicative. You have a function of comments, which means the author can easily communicate with the reader, not only within the text, but outside of the text. And also, the author, I think, is trying to build the trust and connection with the reader. This is why they chose such an informal way of speaking. And going back to the instruction, here the author just cannot avoid being informal. Here we're talking about using the chemicals. That's why the register has to be formal and very standardized for the reader of different education level to be able to understand. So the author aims at rather wide range of the readers, and all of them have to understand what the manual is saying. So it has to be simple. When we talk about the structure of the text and we take a more closer look at the magazine article, we can see, even though it's an excerpt, we still can see that there is an introduction, there is a main part of the narrative, and there is a conclusion. When we look at the structure of the manual, we definitely see an introduction when the product is presented, but it is presented in a slightly different way. So we have definitions of some functions that this product provides. Then we have the contents of the kit, we have storage conditions, we have terms of use, we have the main part, which is the instructions on how to use the kit, and we have the list of ingredients. So there is a logical development of this text, but it does not have like a narrative. It doesn't have the introduction, the main part, and the conclusion, but there is a logical development also. Then let's talk about lexis. So first of all, I would like to pay your attention to terminology and the way it is introduced by the author. I already mentioned what kind of terms are used in the text. Also wanted to say that terminology in a magazine article is introduced in a very casual way. So what the author does is that she uses a term, then gives a definition, and the definition is not detailed, but she tends to leave references for the future readings in the form of links, which basically gives the reader a choice. If they want to explore more, they can just follow the link and read more. If not, then at least they understand the basic concept of the term. In the instruction, in the manual, when a term is introduced, it is not explained at all. The reason for that is the manual is aimed at professionals of the lash industry, and basically it implies that if a person reads this manual, they already should know what the manual is talking about. And speaking about the language in general, I can say that the manual language is more plain and standardized to avoid the dual meaning, while the language of the article is more rich. I notice that most of the words are nouns and verbs in the manual, as the author does not have to give detailed description. The aim of the manual is to give instructions, so just to tell the reader what to do, while the article can present some imagery. That's why we can see more adjectives and adverbs when we talk about the morphology. And this richness in expressive means also allows the author to sound more entertaining and to reach the desired level of the audience. And to conclude, let's look at some challenging and rewarding aspects of the project. So, as for translating challenges, I can say that terminology was not easy to translate. And to translate it right, you have to understand the topic and you have to understand the processes. So, as I was working with technical texts before, I had a habit of researching and finding more information about the processes that the text is talking about. So, both of the texts required very time consuming research in terms of terminology, in terms of processes, in terms of the equipment used. And the second challenging part for me was that the manual that I was working with, it had to be edited and proofread before I started translating, because the text that I initially got from my friend was just an outline of the manual, and basically it wasn't a finished product. So I had to do double job here, but I'm very happy with my results. And the rewarding aspects I would love to mention is, first of all, now I do understand the subject. So now I have some knowledge and I build my term base for the further translation if I will ever need to translate something concerning eyelash serums or eyebrow serums. So I am a little more educated in this sphere thanks to this project. Also, I always love to do the comparative analysis, as it trains your basic analytical skills. So that is always a pleasure for me to do the analysis. And also being able to understand and compare stylistic features of the text of different styles, genres, text type, and tone is the main thing that we study here in this class. So I think after all the studies, after all the lectures and readings, I do understand how to do this better. I do have an approach. And if I have doubts, I have a great base. I have a great number of books that I downloaded that I can consult, and it's much easier for me now. I understand the concepts much better. And during this project, I had a chance to just apply my analytical skills to this text analysis, and had another chance to master them. So I am very thankful for that, and I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation, and I can't wait to listen to the other members of the class. Thank you.